What's up,
Let's go. Paul and Saul
dude?
show.
Let's get back into it. It is Paul
Let's
and
do it.
Saul. I'm Saul. That guy
I'm your man,
is
Paul.
that way is Paul. And we're going to give you all local news in a relatively concise roundup if I ever stop talking. But first, we got to play our music.
Hit it.
Paul, it feels like it's been too long. I feel like we've been like out of sight, out of mind.
Hey,
We're not
man.
though.
But we're here
But
now. Let's go. This is
yeah,
the
so
second
first,
one. Second one of the year, I think.
Yeah. So first thing, hot off the presses from your boy Colin Bester, a report from Crestview City Council. It's not even online yet, so bear with us. He's getting the graphics up and stuff. But Crestview City Council voted to authorize a $30 million bond. So they're going to take a loan to do three things: renovations to Fire Station number 3, construction of a new public works complex, and they are going to purchase a gymnasium / pool complex called The Rock from Central Baptist Church. A lot of money all going out to bond, but the one thing that is interesting, I think, is that The Rock, of course, owned by county, or not owned, but the Central Baptist Church owns it. The head pastor is, of course, Paul Mixon, county commissioner over there. The interesting thing about this budget item is they didn't split it out like, hey, we're going to do 10 million for this, 15 million for this, 5 million for this. They just said it's all in one. We've reached out to the city of Crestview to figure out, hey, how much is going to what? Haven't gotten anything back yet, but of course, we're going to update that story. Again, fresh news, big money, big bond, big loan for the city of Crestview.
This seems like to be a thing in Okaloosa County lately, is large purchases of land for the public good. I hope we learned our lesson with the Destin one. I am assuming Crestview and Mr. Mixon have really solid reasons for the valuation, independent third-party valuations on what that property's worth. Obviously, hopefully they'll share that information with Mid-Bay News so we can help get it out to the general public. But you definitely want all of this stuff to be as much above board as possible. Otherwise, you get a lot of distrust by the public, which we all know the public already distrusts government anyway. So let's get as much information as possible out there to dispel all the people that are already going to think this is just, some rigged thing.
Yeah, and so we're going to be on this thing. $30 million is a lot of money for a town like Crestview. To give you an idea, city of Niceville's budget I just looked at last week from property tax alone is like $8 million. So Crestview's about 1.25 times the size of that. So we're looking at like $10 million valuation. So when you put a $30 million bond out, that's a huge number for a town. So it looks to be transformative. I hope it is. And we'll be watching it every step of the way over here at Mid-Bay News because that's what we do professionally. Anyway, moving on. DeFuniak Springs down East I-10 from Crestview. They are determining whether or not to have a fire department. Big discussions at their city council this week. They talked about whether or not to outsource fire protection to the Walton County Sheriff's Office, which provides fire protection for everything pretty much I think north of the Bay. I think they also do include Freeport in that. And so they have a lot of fire protection responsibility. That means economies of scale. It also means that DeFuniak would not have independent control over its fire department. So they couldn't scale up, scale down, do what they need to do. They'd have to go with what the sheriff has in his budget. But it's a lot less expensive, at least according to the sheriff's office, which gave them kind of a back of the napkin proposal that would be $1 million left, or less, or more than half of the cost, or less than half of the cost of what they're paying right now. They're currently paying $1.9 million a year for fire protection in DeFuniak Springs. What do you think, man?
I mean, this sounds oddly familiar, right, to us in Okaloosa County. It's a very Valparaiso-like. Yeah, I really think in sort of these times of, rising costs and property taxes, like some consolidation at the county level is wise. I hope Valparaiso is listening and watching what DeFuniak's doing, because this would clearly be cost savings and and potentially a way to consolidate at the county level. I do understand citizens' concern at not controlling their own destiny. Trusting that the county is going to provide the same level of support that they're currently getting. But I mean, listen, with all these fire departments and police departments, they all have unions. They're all have different rules. Like, it just is starting to strangle our communities and our counties. And to me, it just seems like logical to consolidate some of these things at the county level, level the playing field so that Destin's not paying more than Crestview, or DeFuniak's not paying more than the fire department on 30A. And I think it's just good for both counties if they consolidated and treated the people in the north part of the county the same way they treat the people in the south part of the county.
So one of the things that is really very interesting, I was talking to a high-level public official this week, and they told me, hey, it is hard to keep firefighters because of what South Walton Fire District and Panama City Beach are paying, and the fact that most firefighters are on like 48-96 shifts. So if you're on for 48 hours and you're off for 4 days, you can pretty much live anywhere in like a 200-mile radius, right? So you can have low cost of living, and you can still go work at Panama City Beach Fire Department and make $90,000 a year. That being said, there's something to be said for like working at a Niceville, where it's small town community kind of thing. Everybody does their calculus a little bit differently, but this is going to be very interesting to see if they take this over, because like you said, or like we said, it's economies of scale, right? If you can get the economy of scale, you can really start paying firefighters more, charging taxpayers less. So this is going to be a very interesting proposal. I don't know what the city of DeFuniak Springs is going to do. From what I hear, it's 2 on one side, 2 on the other, and then there's a split vote in the middle that'll make that decision. But they have a month to chew it over, and we'll hear about it a little bit more in February. Moving over to Fort Walton Beach, the Fort Walton Beach Watch Group has decided to file a lawsuit against the city of Fort Walton Beach. Why, you may ask? If you've been following the story, you definitely know it's because of all of the ballot amendment or charter amendments they put on the ballot for this March. I mean, less than 45 days away until election season 2026 officially begins. And so these 3 ballot amendments, right, are going to basically, how do I say this? They're going to want to allow city council people to get paid again. They're not allowed to be paid right now after the last ballot amendment in 2024. It would remove the cap on the budget, which hasn't technically really been followed anyway. They've kind of like had to do this like roll into period. So you haven't really even seen that happen yet. There is one other thing. Ballot question 2, election term limits, vacancies, and filing fees are on there as well. So there's a lot of important stuff that's going to be on this, and it could really affect the budget of the city, whether or not they can provide services or not, whether or not taxpayers see some relief in the next couple of years. It's all going to be on this ballot whenever it goes. But with this lawsuit, man, I mean, with any of these kind of lawsuits, unless it gets thrown out on its face, it could delay until the primary or even the general election.
Yeah, I mean, I think if you're against everything that they're putting on these initiatives, then yeah, this lawsuit delaying is a really smart chess versus checkers move. But I think this comes down to, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, right? Like, we've had some changes in the leadership in Fort Walton Beach, and so this is sort of reverting back to the way things were before the previous city council voted on all this stuff in the previous amendments. So
yeah, and if this thing passes, that would essentially be what it would be, going back to like pre-2024. Voters voted on that. That's kind of the watch group's main argument, is that, hey, we've already voted on this, we don't need to do it again. The city council would go back and say they elected us in 2024 or 2025, so if we want to turn it back, that's the will of the voters. They regret it. Going to get settled in court, I guess.
Yeah, or a vote, one of the two, or both. So
just like all things in America, it will either be settled in court or by vote.
That's right.
We need a Thunderdome. Anyway, we're not getting a Thunderdome, but if you want to build the next Thunderdome, you can start at Northwest Florida State College. That's right. It is a hard transition into our sponsor for this episode of Paul and Saul. Northwest Florida State College offering you a launch pad for your future. They do everything, all your general eds. They can get you a technical degree, or they can help you move over to the Fort Walton Beach campus of UWF, where they're going to offer engineering classes. That could be you, and it would be awesome. So Northwest Florida State College is the place to start your career. The future starts here. Now,
shout out Mel Ponder. You're doing a great job over there.
Shout out to our boy Mel Ponder. He is the guy. We love him, and I'm hoping to see him this weekend at Northwest Florida State College basketball doubleheader, men and women. Number one women's program in America is playing this weekend. So if you don't have something to do, or even if you do, cancel that kid's birthday party. Show up.
I might be there. I might be there.
Sit next to me. It'll be good.
It's on my calendar.
That's what I'm talking about. 2 o'clock, 4 o'clock. Be there or be square.
Hey, anyway, let's talk about school choice, man. This is a heavy one.
So school choice. This had a lot of people texting me saying, did this just end the voucher program for private schools? It did not. Look at me. Look at me. Come here.
We're still good, everybody.
All good. Voucher's still there. This is a bill by Senator Don Gates, former Okaloosa Schools superintendent. He's a big school choice guy. So when I saw like, hey, this is going to do something with voucher money, I was like, and so we looked at it. And then I talked to Senator Gates. He said, look, man, I'm still a school choice guy. I really want to make sure that the financial controls that I feel haven't been in place over the last since we started this program are going to be in place so that we actually have money to give kids in the future. He says that, there's a ton of money that's gone missing from this voucher program. Essentially, he says there's no way to do the financial control to make sure that people aren't like saying, oh, my kid's getting homeschooled this year. And then they take that money and then a month later put them in public schools or something like that, because that hurts the public school, which doesn't get that $8,000 from the state. And then it hurts, the state because they're just paying out money for people to do whatever in theory, right? And that may not be what's happening, but they don't have any way to know. And this bill separates those pots of money, and it makes sure that there's a monthly reporting date instead of a yearly reporting date. So a little bit more control over the money, a little bit more control over like, hey, where's your kid at?
Yeah, I mean, this program has been tremendous. I guess on which side you stand on. If you're pro public schools, you're starting to see erosion there in some places as parents put their kids in private schools or homeschool them. But what a interesting and tremendous opportunity for Florida parents, and you can basically have school choice. The state is helping fund it for you. And then if your kids get good grades, they can go to Bright Futures and go through the public school system on scholarship as well. I mean, this is just a great state to live in when it comes to that. And, people often ask, like, where does this money come from? And you sort of hinted at it. It comes from two pots of money, one from the Florida Tax Credit Scholarship, which are donations from businesses. And then the other is like a Family Endowment Scholarship, which is state taxpayers' money that we get from sales tax and other things. So it's really awesome. There are people actually moving to this state for this opportunity. And the state runs out of surplus. So somehow we're doing it. We're paying for everything and we got a surplus. So God bless us.
Take the win where you can get it, I guess. But yeah, so the other thing is that it will allow you to, for example, I don't know anybody that would do anything like this, but if you switch your kid from, like a public school to a private school in the middle of the school year, like in between semesters, you would be able to apply for that scholarship and get the semester going forward, right? So you would have to wait a whole year. So that would be a big win for anybody that might do something like that.
I would know nobody who has done that. Not a single person.
It does happen.
It does happen. I've heard it's happened.
Allegedly, they're out there.
Allegedly.
Anyway, the Niceville Good Neighbor promo is the thing that's coming up next. Let me tell you a little bit about this because my boy Ryan Cabinus, homie, friend of the pod.
Friend of the pod.
Make sure that we recognize our good neighbors here in Niceville, people that are doing good stuff. If you have somebody that you need to nominate somebody that's done real good stuff. I mean, we've had everybody from the people that run the concession stands for the Eagle Pride at the football game to somebody that helped another person get their car back up and going. It was kind of like a maintenance issue or something like that. Doesn't have to be like some grand gesture. It can just be somebody being a good neighbor. So if you have somebody in mind, I'll put a link directly into the comments on this show after we're done. But you can just go to Mid-Bay News and type in Niceville Good Neighbor. Show up right there. I want you to put the person you think really deserves it. They're awesome. They're amazing. And they should be recognized. Speaking of recognition, we have a really, really cool thing coming up next. It is this, which happened this very morning. Check it out. It is Niceville Cheer is on their way to state. And so we all showed up. City of Niceville Fire Department showed up to do their water cannon, as is tradition, Paul Schoberg.
Yeah, and, I mean, I think Mayville started this, and it's continued after his retirement. I think it's awesome that we do this.
Yeah, and so you can see people had fat heads. We do not have enough fat heads in this country. I think that 2011, 2012 was the fat head era in these United States, and we've gotten away from that. And frankly, it hasn't been good. It hasn't been good for high school athletics.
But hey, shout out to Niceville's men's basketball team. They had a home game this week. Last minute buzzer beater against Tate for the win. It's been sort of an up and down season for them, but such a huge highlight. The fans stormed the court. It was awesome. They had lost to Tate, I think, once or maybe twice earlier in the season. So this is a big win for Niceville. And they play Crestview tonight. So if you want to see the men's basketball team play, they play Crestview tonight. Dude,
Hub City, always a fight, always a dog fight over there at the Eagles Nest. We have so many sports to get to. I mean, we've talked about everything from Niceville playing ball, and Northwest Florida State College has baseball games away this week. They open away for the first game of the season. I know head coach Doug Martin would be remiss and would yell at me from his backyard if I did not mention that. So get ready, guys, because
the spring sports are coming.
It's upon us. All right.
Yeah,
and then
I
talked to my homies, the lacrosse moms. Shout out to all my lacrosse moms who have reminded me, hey, you played lacrosse in high school. You gonna do your boys a solid? And I said to them, I absolutely will, because I love me a good lacrosse game. I know I look like a guy that loves a good lacrosse game. I get that. It's just part of the gig. When I'm not being Clark Kent, I watch lacrosse.
There you go.
Full endorsement.
There you go. Well, hey, I want to remind our watchers, we're doing this all for free for the most part. So please go to midbaynews.com/donate. If you love local news, local content, and you want to know what's going on in our communities across the Panhandle, primarily Okaloosa and Walton, but please head over to midbaynews.com/donate and help your boy Christopher and Colin and all those guys out so that they can feed themselves and their families.
And I can get Paul his combination kale/protein powder shakes. He's low.
I need some of those.
My boy needs his creatine.
Yeah.
Let him know, Paul.
Man. All right, y'all. Before we go to the outro, just remember, be nice, Niceville. See you guys later. Peace.
I remember the outro.